What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel for round 4 because I keep hitting the stop record instead of just keep going. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you had a great, beautiful, marvelous day. Yeah, beautifulest. Beautifulest, that's a word I use all the time. Alright, where y'all from? How's everybody doing? Have you subscribed, comment, like the video? Oh, anyway. So we're gonna check out. I've been doing all these compilation videos, so I gotta break it up. I gotta put it in. We're gonna do a reaction right here. I got people who disappeared because they knew too much. Yeah. I mean, of all the videos I put up, these are the ones that are getting the most views. So I want to get to know everybody, let everybody get to know me. Then we're gonna dive way deeper into life because I know a lot about life. I'm young, 51 in a few months. But nonetheless, let's dive in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the channel. People who disappeared and knew because they knew too much. Alright, don't hit the stop button, hit the play button. Let's do it.
Some were brilliant minds who specialized in their areas with the sole purpose of making this world a better place. Hours and hours of time and effort invested to finally publish advances that in some cases could change our history. Others were controversial characters who interfered in topics where few dared to enter. Both groups composed of bold people who made news for discovering things or denouncing terrible events of great public connotation. Shocking situations that needed to be known by the people without knowing that that discovery would be a death.
Yo, why do they have an AIDS poster up? Like, I'm confused. Can you help me?
Sentence at the same time. People who ended up being victims of extremely mysterious situations that today you will have the opportunity to know about. So stay with me. My name is Leonore Clay, and this is The Darkest Secret. Today we present People Who Disappeared Because They Knew Too Much, Part 2.
Yo, I'm making this channel, right? And I'm at the monetization product. I'm at the monetization part, meaning I've met the requirements. And now what do y'all think about this intro, man? Like, that's what I want to know. What do y'all think about this intro? This right here, I think it was pretty good. I need opinions. Can you give me your opinion in the comments? I like the female voice too. Most of the time we're hearing that guy. So
Number 8.
there's 8 of them.
We begin our investigation with the man you now see on the screen. This man is Jeffrey Allen Lash. His life and death were surrounded by a mystery that still no one understands.
Yo, I thought that was Charles Manson, I ain't gonna lie.
You see, in the summer of 2015, Los Angeles police officers made a surprising discovery. They had found Lash's lifeless body in his own vehicle. After an investigation, they found the two main witnesses, his wife and his assistant, who gave a statement as unusual as it was crazy. They said that they had obeyed Jeffrey's last wishes, who assured that agents of the United States government would come to pick up his body. However, no one arrived, leaving a series of questions floating in the air. Jeffrey Allen Lash was no ordinary citizen. He presented himself as a secret government agent, although he never proved his claim. The strangest and most fascinating vertex of his personal story was his proclamation of being part extraterrestrial, a human-alien hybrid, a confession that he told in such a way that he had managed to convince both women. Lash also complained of an unknown and debilitating illness, the veracity of which he also failed to substantiate, adding another level of mystery to his already complicated personal history. However, the most curious thing after his death is that it was discovered that he had several $1 million in cash and an impressive arsenal of firearms.
Whoa.
Pistols, rifles, submachine guns, and even had the elements for powerful explosive bombs. So many weapons that he could easily arm an entire guerrilla. He owned 1,500 weapons.
That's a lot.
Why
of
did
weapons.
he need so many weapons? And where did his wealth come from? Some say that he was indeed a real man in black who was murdered by the government for some unknown reason. Perhaps because of his extraterrestrial connections. The story sounds like fiction, but it is completely real. The story of Jeffrey Allen Lash had been the subject of numerous newspaper articles and documentaries, and has left many baffled by the lack of definitive answers. Despite multiple theories and speculations, the true motivations and nature of his life and death remain an unsolved enigma, making his story one of the most fascinating and enigmatic of modern times. Numbers.
Okay, wait a minute. So this dude claimed to be part alien, part human. He had over $1 million, 1,500 weapons, not to mention explosives. Why would you need all the, Terminator? Like Terminator kind of reminds me of that, right? Like maybe he was caught in that kind of reality? What do you think? Ooh.
7. Danny Casolaro was an American journalist and writer known for his investigation into a number of conspiracy theories, particularly surrounding what he called the octopus, an alleged conspiracy network involving government agencies, powerful figures, and a range of illegal activities. Casolaro's best-known investigation focused on the computer software theft scandal known as Promise. He maintained that this software program, originally designed for the United States Department of Justice, was being used by various government agencies and intelligence bodies around the world. He claimed that the software had become a tool for global espionage, monitoring, and that his research into this topic had led him to discover the conspiracy network he called Octopus, a high-level investigation that was slowly beginning to attract media attention, however, unfortunately, came to an abrupt end. On August 10, 1991, Danny Casolaro was found dead in a hotel room in Virginia. The official version said that Casolaro had taken his own life, but this did not convince anyone. In fact, since there has been controversy and speculation around the circumstances surrounding his death, due to the nature of his investigations and the theories of conspiracy in which he was involved. Years later, with Snowden, it would be declassified that the state did possess massive spy software, not called Promise, but Prisma. Could it have been what he was finding out? In fact, if you go to Wikipedia to read about the Prisma program, you will see that its predecessors was a software called Promise. The life and death of Danny Casolaro had been the subject of interest and debate, and his work has influenced conspiracy theory culture both in the United States and around the world. While his research shed light on genuine issues related to security and technology, he also left a legacy of controversy and speculation, surrounding the conspiracy theories he investigated. Number 6.
I mean, this was like a big thing, right? I mean, it really was. You go digging too deep, they coming after you. They already tried to come after, President Trump, because he's exposing them. Why wouldn't they go after a little guy who can't protect himself? That's an easy target.
In this position, we find the disappearance of a restless mind that from a young age demonstrated an unusual talent for mechanics and engineering. I'm referring to Granger Taylor, a true self-taught genius who over the years went from building his own vehicle from scrap metal to an inexplicable and deep obsession with the mysteries of the cosmos.
Okay, so just from that right there is why I will be quick to say, agree with Charlie Kirk, college is a scam. Because especially today in 2025, man, you can get on this here YouTube and you can learn anything you want. You can get on the internet, you can learn anything you want. And you can even print yourself out a degree. And if you want to be honest about it, you can even have ChatGPT give you a bunch of questions about the subject just to make sure that you can answer all the questions. Then you can print yourself out a degree.
Tyler dropped out of school at 14, but that didn't stop him from becoming a mechanic and inventor extraordinaire. Tyler's most notable achievement was building a life-size replica of a 19th century locomotive. Despite of not having any formal engineer training, he dedicated years of his life to building an exact working replica of a 1912 steam locomotive, using old designs and parts that he made or adapted himself. The locomotive was so well built that it was even used in a movie. Another of his extraordinary projects was the restoration of a World War II P-40 Kitty Hawk bomber aircraft, which had been damaged during a forced landing. Tyler restored the plane to its former glory, leaving it functional. Tell me what normal person achieves such a deed? I tell you this so that you can try to understand this man's exceptional mind, something that contradicts with his greatest obsession. You see, Granger Tyler was passionate about UFOs and aliens. He kept a meticulous diary in which he recorded sightings and supposed encounters with beings from other worlds. His obsession led him to investigate conspiracy theories and paranormal phenomena, creating a wealth of experiences that defied conventional logic, as if all of this had served as a preamble to what would happen later. In November 1980, Granger, then 42 years old, disappeared in a rather mysterious manner. He left his house one day taking his truck and never returned. He told his parents that this was the day he would join the aliens. They never found his body or his belongings, leaving only a letter intended for a friend in which he explained that as incredible as it may sound, he had decided to board an extraterrestrial spaceship and that he would not return to Earth. It was the publication of this concerning letter that opened a chasm of uncertainty and speculation in the small community where he lived. Granger Tyler's disappearance sparked an intense search by police in the local community, but to no avail. No one could find any trace of him. His story began to circulate in television programs, documentaries, and books about unexplained phenomena and contacts with extraterrestrials. To this day, Granger's disappearance remains an unsolved mystery. They have found some clues that indicate that he took his own life, but those closest to him assure that they are fallacies and that someone is trying to hide the truth. The speculations and theories about its fate are varied and enigmatic, and its history remains an enigma shrouded in mystery. Was Granger seeking a real encounter with otherworldly beings, or did he simply sink into the depths of his obsession? The answers, like his whereabouts, continue to elude all those who try to decipher the enigma of Granger Tyler.
Yeah, okay. You're contacted by aliens and they say, hey, you want to come live on our planet? What do? You're going to have to wear a mask, like a helmet all the time. What do? What do you do? That's a tough one. I mean, I like Earth. Would I just leave? I mean, that would seem kind of crazy to me.
Number 5.
Hold up.
How to prepare an investigation of people who disappeared due to knowing too much.
Am I even allowed to put this on here? I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of nervous about this one. People who disappeared because they knew too much.
Without mentioning perhaps the most important case of recent times. Jeffrey Epstein was a man who was always involved in a bundle of intrigue and mystery. And although he had connections with some of the most powerful and rich people in the world, none of this helped him escape his strange and enigmatic death, the details of which seem to have been taken from a suspense novel. Epstein's life was a roller coaster of luxury, power, and dark secrets. Accused in 2008 of trafficking minors, he escaped a severe sentence with a controversial agreement with the prosecution. Despite evidence pointing to a pattern of abuse, Epstein was sentenced to a prison term that seemed inadequate for his crimes. However, in July 2019, Epstein faced justice again, this time without being able to escape, even though he offered his entire fortune of almost $600 million to save himself. However, the story takes an unexpected and chilling turn when in August 2019, while in custody at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, he was found dead in his cell. Officially, his death was ruled a suicide, but this conclusion sparked a storm of conspiracy theories and speculation about what really happened. How did a prisoner in a maximum security cell manage to take his own life? A predestined prison so that precisely that would not happen. The circumstances surrounding his death, including too many coincidences in security and supervision failures that no one can believe, obviously unleashed a storm of suspicion. Many believe that Epstein possessed incriminating information about powerful people and that his death was convenient to cover up a gigantic plot. Conspiracy theories began to proliferate. Some maintained that Epstein had been murdered to silence him and protect influential figures, while others believe he had been helped to escape and was living somewhere remote in the world. To this day, Jeffrey's long-awaited client list remains one of the most kept secrets of recent times. Because, of course, Ghislaine Maxwell has them, but it will probably never come to light.
Okay. There's a lot going on right there. What do y'all think? Did he kill himself? Wait, can you say that? Did he unalive himself? Was he unalived by somebody else, or is he living somewhere chilling? Cause he was like, "Yo, take this 600 million, buy me a spot, let's make it." I don't know. I don't know. Hey, I'm just reporting, just watching a video here, guys. That's all. That's all.
Number 4. In this position, we find ourselves with another air tragedy that in 2014 mourned world aeronautics again, and that once again has theories that the plane was taken down for convenience. It was in that year that the planet was shaken by the news of the crash of a commercial plane in Ukrainian territory. After the remains of 295 victims of the accident were found, and the identity of the unfortunate passengers was known, the attention was drawn to a group of scientists who at the time of the accident had with them important information that they would reveal at a conference which talked about a huge discovery they had made regarding the HIV virus.
Uh-oh.
Among them, the media highlighted the career of Joe Blaine, who had been researching the virus since 1993. The former president of the International AIDS Society worked on antiretroviral therapy and was one of the first defenders of bringing medications to developing countries. It was he who, along with other members of his team, were about to reveal their discovery to the world. Important findings that were interrupted by the plane crash. What did these men discover?
Coincidence?
Could there be any relationship between the tragedy and what these doctors were about to reveal? Although they never wanted to investigate the subject, there were many hypotheses that speak of the real threat that these men represent to large pharmaceutical companies. Powerful business corporations that saw in Joe Blaine and his companions the end of their business model, and that therefore had to prevent their discoveries from becoming public at all costs. What is true in all of this? Unfortunately, whether out of their own free will or under threats, no one dared to investigate. Number 3.
Oh yeah, hold on. 41, so let's go back to 30, 36. Alright. Got a lot to wrap that. Like, yo, man, see, I'm just saying, so check this out. If I disappear at all, I am not suicidal. I just want to live my life, put out as much truth as I can, and go to heaven. Actually, we'll get into that later. Hold on, time out. Let's get back into the video.
Number 3. Another mysterious case that shook the internet occurred when on January 25, 2006, a man named John Lang, 51, was found lying on the floor in his home located in the town of Fresno, California, after his house suffered damage in a fire. Unfortunately, hours later, the man would die in the hospital. However, as incredible as it may seem, he did not die from the incident in his home, but rather from multiple cuts on his body from a knife. Clearly, something else was hidden here, something extremely disturbing that days later would shake the entire internet. You see, Lang was a frequent commenter in the Fresno People's Media group on Facebook and known in the Fresno activist community. And in that context, before passing away, a controversial message addressed to Corin Haggard on his Facebook page, a popular reporter who worked at a local media station. Corin, do you want the news? The corrupt Fresno cops are going to murder me this week. Possibly tonight. No joke. Lang was literally warning about his own murder. Murder that, in addition, left the local police responsible. At the time, the journalist took this message only as an exaggeration, until a short time later, Lang was announced dead after a fire in his house. All of this would have turned out to be nothing more than another tragic story, if it weren't for the fact that Lang was tremendously active online. He had many followers who were aware of the terrifying harassment he was suffering from supposedly the police. You see, in 2009, John Lang began writing on his personal website about a case of corruption of the Fresno police, which was issuing parking tickets that did not comply with the law. According to Lang, millions of dollars were made with these illegal practices. He also sent the information to his local newspaper. The problem is that an employee of the newspaper, whom Lang identifies as Jody Murray, was filtering the IP addresses of all those citizens who published comments criticizing the policies of the local government team or the police. Lang sent an email to the newspaper's then editor explaining that an employee had been leaking users' IPs to Fresno police. He says the police launched a large number of investigations into him across multiple agencies in an effort to discredit and destroy him, intensifying their harassment. According to Lang, in addition, his phone and that of his ex-wife's were tapped, and their GPS had been hacked. Up to this point, John seemed like just another paranoid guy. However, everything changed when John decided to create a YouTube channel where he uploaded videos from the security cameras installed in his home. John, worried about the harassment that he was sure was being done to him, installed cameras in his house to have proof of it, and that's how his suspicions became a reality.
What? All this over parking tickets?
Police cars parked in front of their house for no apparent reason, or police officers looking towards the house. Several such videos can be seen in his playlists. Without a doubt, the most disturbing image is the one where you can see some guys in a black van pointing a very strange camera at Lang's home. According to the description of the video, it is a thermal camera that the Fresno Sheriff's team was using to find out if Lang was at home. It is clear that everything surrounding this death is very strange. A fire that seems intentional, stab wounds. The behavior of the police is certainly suspicious. But was Lang just a conspiracy nut? Or was he right? The internet community mobilized and even collected signatures to try to clarify the issue of the murder. However, it was concluded that there was no suspicious behavior on the part of the police. Far from all that, it is evident that the news did not receive much media attention. The press barely wrote about it, and everything was left up in the air. No one was ever charged or declared guilty, and they left the question of whether Lang died from his injuries or by smoke inhalation. A sinister case of which to this day remains completely silenced and without resolution. Number 2.
Oh, that's just crazy, yo. Look at that, man. They're literally recording his house. What kind of camera is that? Are there any camera guys out here? What kind of camera is that? That is crazy. That is crazy. They try to teach us to keep in line, that's for sure. Get in line. Alright, we got the last
The
two.
number 2 spot goes to the most spectacular case of homicide caused by the highest levels of power. This is almost without a doubt why we believe that there are people who are murdered with a staged suicide, and that power has the ability to do this and hide it. A name so well known that perhaps you have already heard of it several times. But if not, you are about to know the reason why everyone fears what world powers are capable of doing.
It's not just world powers.
Many of the things we have seen in this video are just theories. One more hypothesis of what could have happened to its protagonists. But what you're going to see here really happened with almost 100% accurate evidence.
Wow.
Gary Webb was a journalist by vocation. He loved his profession and the principles it had, that of always telling the truth. Perhaps that is why he was not a journalistic nobody. He had earned a solid reputation for his dozens of investigative articles. He even participated in a Pulitzer Prize-winning report. He was also possibly the first to use the internet to denounce the operations of none other than the CIA with drug trafficking. During his professional career, he worked for the San Jose Mercury News in its digital format, where he demonstrated in a saga of articles how the CIA in the 1980s sold tons of crack in the poor neighborhoods of Los Angeles and used the money to finance the Nicaraguan Contra War, which was then trying to defeat the Sandinista government in Nicaragua.
True story.
In the materials, he revealed for the first time how the flow of cocaine was transferred from the bases of the Salvadorian army by planes from that country to U.S. military airports, where it was unloaded under official protection, to be distributed to trafficking organizations controlled by the local intelligence services. His journalistic investigations were based on declassified CIA documents and the testimonies of participants in the operation, among whom were Ricky Ross and Chico Brown, important drug traffickers on the west coast of the United States, who operated under the umbrella of the Intelligence Center. Official documents showed that Nicaraguan Contra bosses organized a trafficking network in Los Angeles and distributed tons of cocaine to two gangs called the Crips and the Bloods, all while the CIA and DEA simply looked the other way. Hence, the journalist earned dangerous enemies, in addition to the official aggressiveness of his government. Gary Webb was even compared to whistleblowers of the caliber of Edward Snowden or Julian Assange. However, unfortunately, he did not have the same luck as them. On December 17, 2004, Webb was found dead with his face shattered by two .38 caliber gunshots in his California home. The police, and as unusual as it may be to hear, maintain the theory that the two fatal wounds were self-inflicted successfully. Something that clearly, to this day, no one believes. Shortly before he died at age 49, Webb told a friend that he was being watched, that he noticed vans with cameras, men taking photos of his house, and people following him everywhere. At the time of his death, Webb was preparing a new investigation into the CIA drug trafficking connection, which for many ultimately sealed his tragic fate. This, along with cases like Snowden and Assange, challenge leave us with a bitter taste in our mouths, a taste that you are constantly being watched. And if you put too much pressure on the interests of powerful people, you will begin to enter an alley that rarely has a way out.
So I can say that I've been a part of this, right? I know that they're, because of the book I wrote, they know that I know, and they don't want you to know, because if you know what I know, then we don't need them for real, for real.
Number 1.
Oh, here we go. Never heard of him. Y'all heard of him?
We conclude this video with a scientist about whom we have already spoken of before, but whose case is so enigmatic that it simply could not be left out of this collection. I'm referring to Jacobo Greenberg, the extraordinary Mexican scientist who, in pursuit of full understanding of consciousness, left aside traditional scientific methods to enter the world of sanification and shamans. His revolutionary studies, all of them related to esoteric science, made Dr. Greenberg gain great popularity. He published books, gave speeches, interviews, and when he was preparing to publish new information, on December 8, 1994, he disappeared without leaving any trace. As seems to be a trend in this type of case, speculation about his mysterious disappearance did not wait. It is no secret that the scientific world was looking with some reluctance at the work that Greenberg was carrying out, and the fact that a scientist of international prestige publicly said that there were ways to heal with the power of the mind, without the need of remedies or medications, put them at a level that many were not willing to tolerate.
Wow. Okay.
Furthermore, his work related to metaphysics, in which he postulated that each person had the mental capacity to change both their environment and the universe, made him earn several enemies, since he represented a threat to large pharmaceutical corporations. Some say that he simply secluded himself in a monastery. Others that he was hired by the CIA to continue his investigations. But without a doubt, the most audacious of all is the one that maintains that only by using the power of the mind, he managed to dominate the space-time, and from there is exploring the universe to discover all its secrets. Could there be any truth in all of this? Could we see Jacobo Greenberg again? Let me know what you think in the comment box, because this video has come to an end. My name is Leonore Clay, and this was The Darkest Secret.
Yeah, that's a good outro too. Okay, well that was pretty good, I ain't gonna lie. So the last guy, so there was a guy named Yogananda something or another. I forgot his name. Yogananda something or another. And he did that. He meditated himself. Nah, he was meditating so hard that they couldn't wake him up. He told his wife to just whisper his name, and then she would do that. He would come back, but then he'd go back into it. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, the mind is a very powerful tool, people. If you don't know how strong your mind is, you stick around here and I will show you. Alright, so what do you think? Were these people silenced or just unlucky? Drop your thoughts, because this rabbit hole goes way deeper. If you're watching this right now, you are meant to be here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.